Hello, 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 and welcome back to March Payne's Midlife Dolly Crisis, and welcome to this video where I'm going to be basically unboxing a smart doll, which is a bit of a surprise for you perhaps, and a bit of a surprise for me as well in a way. I've obviously seen people opening smart dolls for a number of years. I've watched a lot of videos on them, and they're really lovely dolls, but I never really considered getting one. That is until I started to downsize my doll collection. And you might be asking why someone who is downsizing their doll collection is adding to it by buying a smart doll. But I was kind of thinking about dolls that I would like to add to my collection, sort of special dolls, which kind of put me down the route of BJDs, and eventually realising how expensive BJDs are, although I did know that originally anyway, I decided that actually, value for money wise, smart dolls seemed to be the way forward, because although they are expensive to buy, once you've got them, they come with a face-up, they come with a wig, they come with eyes, and they're not strung as well. The whole string thing, I think, it kind of put me off a bit, only because I've had those kind of small BJDs that you get in blind boxes, and they're not always great for posing because the string makes them a bit kicky. So yeah, I kind of feel like, although, you know, obviously you can restring these dolls and stuff like that, it's kind of a lot to go into, I think, and this kind of felt like a kind of an easier option, if not, you know, a completely kind of inexpensive one. So look, I haven't said which doll it is yet. I haven't put it in the description or the title. So let's go ahead and open up this doll and see which one I decided on getting. Okay, so unboxing this and videoing it is going to be slightly tricky, only because I haven't really unboxed a doll this big, and when I was even unboxing my Element Wild dolls, they were tricky enough to try and film because my tripod would only go so far, unless I prop it up on a box, which I have done before, but let's try it without that, shall we? So look, here's the bag, which you've all seen about a gazillion times before, I'm sure. Be seen with smart doll. Hopefully you can see that. I love the colours of it, which is very nice. It's kind of nice the packaging is like this. It means that you can kind of reuse it, obviously, as a bag. And then if we pop this down here, and I'm going to adjust you so you can see properly, and I might have to move my lighting out of the way as well. So I should say, while I'm getting this out, I ordered this doll on a Friday, and she'd arrived by the following Wednesday, which, coming all the way from Japan, is very insane to me. I've had to wait weeks and weeks to get stuff from like the UK or Europe. And yeah, so although you're paying a bit more for the doll, you're also paying a bit more for the shipping of the doll. The shipping was about €62 from what I remember. Obviously, on top of that, you get the doll as well with the price that is, and any extras that you purchase. Also, I did have the Dolly Ransom, as Claire from Claire Who Makes Things has christened it. So I had the Dolly Ransom on top of that, which was actually €100 or thereabouts. So obviously that all adds up to the cost of it. I still think, even though obviously it was a lot of money, and obviously it kind of mounted up due to other things, it was probably still cheaper to get this than to get a BJD. And when I say a BJD, I kind of mean an official BJD rather than getting a recast, which I wouldn't want to get anyway. So yeah, so here is the box which comes with the doll. So I'm going to open this so you probably have a clue about which doll I've got. So I did order an extra item. So I ordered a pair of tights for her, only because they seemed quite reasonably priced on there, and I thought they'd be kind of a useful item. I'm also kind of hoping that because they're from the official site, they might not stain the doll, but obviously I'm very wary of that as well, considering the colour of the doll that I've got as well. So that is those ones there. Obviously we've got the stand, which I'm sure you're all very familiar with. We've got the card here with all the care advice on the back of it there. And obviously there's loads of information on the website as well. And then this is the wig, which is blue metal. There we go. So that is the wig. So let's now see which doll it is that I've actually got. So here we go. I can't actually see the screen at the moment, so I don't really know what you can see. Can you see? Yes, you can see something. You can see something there. Now I have to be honest, I have peeked at her, so I should just confess that, but only because she arrived like a few days ago, so I was kind of desperate just to kind of get her out, but obviously I wanted to film it, so I just thought I'd take a peek on the day that she got here. So here we are. Oh, I should have shown you the top because that's actually got the name on. So this is Looking for Trouble. I don't know if you can see that. So it's Looking for Trouble, Blue Metal Edition. So I'd looked at a few different dolls on the website just to try and sort of find one that I kind of really wanted to get. And I had basically a list of the ones that I liked. Now, obviously, you know I like fantasy hair. So my original thought was that I would get Legion because obviously she's got that very vibrant kind of green, sort of emerald green hair. And I did really like her. But when I saw the face of this girl, I kind of preferred her, even though they have probably quite a similar face. And I'm going to bring her up so you can see her properly. Okay, so here she is. Now, I don't know if you're getting the colour that I'm getting. I think she looks a bit washed out or pale, maybe, on camera. So she is in cinnamon. And as I say, I really liked the face of this one. I wasn't sure initially about the open mouth. But obviously Legion also has the open mouth as well. And there is actually a lot of similarities between this face and Legion. In fact, I think it's the same mould. It's just the way that she's been painted slightly different. So her eye makeup is a lot thicker, which I like a lot. And also her lip colour seemed a bit kind of like almost like faded on the corners, which I also really liked. She has got, and I don't know if you can see properly, let me bring a I was trying to avoid the very bright lights because then she'll look completely washed out. But she's got kind of like grey eyes, which is very nice. And obviously it goes to the whole sort of blue metal. Obviously she's got freckles. They are quite faint and they are, as far as I can tell, kind of asymmetrical, which is what you would expect from freckles. I have to say the website was very good at trying to discourage you from buying a doll, or at least, you know, telling you the pitfalls of them and why they aren't kind of always perfect and, you know, the kind of the moulding differences and stuff like that. But yeah, I guess for such an expensive doll, they kind of want to make sure that you're going to be satisfied with what you're going to get. So look, I'm not going to show you her body particularly because I'm sure you've all seen them before, but she's basically on the standard body. There we go. And she's wearing kind of the grey underwear with the orange banding on it. I'm just looking at her feet. They're actually very nicely kind of moulded. I'm sure you've seen the feet. But yeah, they're kind of like, they've got the nail on and everything. So they're the feet. I've not even looked at her hands actually. So I didn't get another hand pack or anything. I just kind of stuck with the hands that she's come with. I also didn't get any other bust size for her because it didn't particularly interest me. I was happy with the kind of the standard one that she's got. So look, what I might do is I'm going to try and get her wig on and then we'll have a look at her then. So here we go. This is her with her wig on. Let me bring her up to the camera. There we go. It's actually a really nice wig. I don't know if this is one of the older wigs maybe, because I know some of the newer ones have got kind of the hair sort of covering the band bit, which I actually don't mind. You know, it's kind of fine. It's probably going to be sort of left long anyway. But this one seemed to have a bit more stretch to it. So it didn't seem such a nightmare to get on. However, I did have some fun fiddling around with her eyes, because I've never had one of these dolls before, and I thought, you know, I may as well have a look and see what the inside of her head looks like. So I took her her head cap off, and basically I took her eye cradle out, and I thought, I'm just going to move the eyes a little bit, because they're always kind of a bit cross-eyed. So it seemed like the ideal time to kind of try and straighten the eyes out if I was going to do it, because I knew I was going to want to put the wig on. So I was fiddling around the eyes. I fiddled around them for quite a bit, and then I dropped one of them on the floor, and it took me about 10 minutes to find it because the room is such a mess. And at one point I thought, okay, she's going to have one eye, and I'll have to kind of make a patch for her or something. But I managed to find it in the end, and I had to fiddle around with the eyes for a little bit longer. I'm sure if you've done this many times, you are aware of all the kind of tips and stuff like that. I kind of went into it a little bit blind, unfortunately. I kind of knew about the cradle, and I was trying to kind of just get the eyes how I wanted them, but it was tricky. It was a tricky thing to do. I think they're okay now, hopefully. If not, I can fiddle around them some more. But I am quite happy with her. I should have mentioned that she is considered a semi-real smart doll, in that she doesn't have the complete kind of anime look. She still looks quite anime to me, but not as anime as in, you know, some of them look like they haven't got noses and things like that, just because they're like pure sort of anime style, which is fine, but I wanted something a bit more kind of real looking. So look, she's here in her outfit, which is basically for now this kind of two-piece. I do have some clothes for her, so let's get her into something else and see what we think. So here she is, and here is some stuff that I've got here. So I kind of bought this stuff when I knew I was going to be buying a smart doll, but as I mentioned, I've been looking at them for months and months, so this stuff I ordered quite a while back. Now, I have to be honest, these two dresses here, which I got from AliExpress, I have actually washed them because I was really concerned that perhaps they might stain her, and I'm not even sure now if I dare put them on. If I do, I will probably be taking them off straight after filming, but we'll see. So I've got a grey one, and I've got a pink one here. They're both exactly the same. Let me show you them properly. There we go. So yeah, so they're both exactly the same. They've got this kind of slit in the down the middle of it for her lady parts to come out. Obviously not fully, just a little hint, a keyhole, I think is what they call it. So yeah, there's no fastenings on these at all. They're basically just kind of as they come. So I'd have to take a head off to get them on, but that's fine. So I'm not sure which one to put on. I'm kind of thinking more the grey. I don't know if the pink would make her look washed out because she's quite pale anyway. So I'm aiming towards the grey, I think. I also ended up buying from AliExpress a whole ton of these sort of faux Converse shoes. Now, I've got a purple, a black, a white, a red, a pink, and this kind of bluey colour, which I think is probably the one I'm going to try on her. Only because I think it'll probably go better with the dress. And obviously if I was going to put the pink dress on, I would use the pink shoes. Yeah, so all these items from AliExpress were very sort of inexpensive. So let me try and get her into one of these things, and then we'll have a final look at her. So here she is. She may look a little bit dishevelled hair-wise anyway, but I kind of like that kind of look for her. So the dress is on. It's very short. I knew it was going to be quite short. I wasn't quite expecting it to be as short as it is. I also, as I mentioned, I did wash it before I put it on her, but I didn't iron it. I'm not sure if I was meant to. The colour of it is sort of twice the length as you see it is now. I've kind of folded it over. And I did have to fiddle around with the keyhole bit at the front because she was trying to show too much of herself, I think, at one point. I also wasn't taking into consideration the whole fact that her kind of chest area is quite squishy. So this part is kind of like a kind of a squishier rubber. Also, I should have mentioned that they do actually smell quite nice, the dolls, which sounds very odd. Obviously, it's not a resin, because I don't know what resin smells like, but they kind of smell quite new, I suppose. I really like this outfit on her. I think it goes very well with her hair. The shoes were a little bit of a struggle for me. I've obviously never done this before. Also, I wasn't sure if the shoes were specific to a foot, because I put one on one foot and then I thought, oh no, that's for the other foot. But to be honest, it didn't really make much of a difference either way. So yeah, they're on. They were so inexpensive. I think they were less than €2 each. So that's kind of why I ended up getting so many. And I've seen so many people with them on their dolls. And to be honest, these are the kind of shoes I would tend to wear on a day-to-day basis. So I thought if it's good enough for me, it's good enough for her. I'm quite delighted with her. I'm still getting used to her. It's very odd. Also, I did actually put a doll next to her just to see how tall she was in comparison. So I'm just going to show you that now. So I'm putting a Nima doll next to her, but obviously Nima is the same height as Elwyn Wilde. But as you can see, they literally come up to just past her waist. It's kind of weird considering how big the Elwyn doll seemed when I first got them. But look, what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments down below. Let me know if you've been eyeing up any of the smart dolls. I was really happy with my experience of buying them. Obviously they are expensive, but you expect that. And, you know, the website point out that you will have to pay a customs fee probably, depending on where you're living. Also, a big thank you to everyone who helped me make the decision to buy a smart doll. I know I kind of messaged a few people, Tammy over at Peacecraft Dolls with Tammy Powley, Beth over at Beth Ramsden, and also Claire over at Claire Who Makes Things. Claire even did a comparison on one of her recent videos between the face of Looking for Trouble and the face of Legion, as she had both of them, only because I was concerned they looked too much alike. But yeah, I'm really happy with the decision that I made, so big thank you to them. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a like. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. And please share the video if you know anyone else that would like this kind of content. And I will see you in the next one. So until then, take care. Bye.